In this section, we're going to be talking all about circles. And you probably are a little bit familiar with circles already, but we're going to go over the definition of it and some formulas that you're going to need before we get into hopefully actually working some examples. Now, a circle is a conic section. It's part of a cone. Actually, it's the base of the cone. If you could picture the cone coming up, like it's setting straight up and down on top of here, or lifting up the cone and looking at the bottom, and this would be the base of it. Now, the definition of a circle is, it is the set of all points in the plane whose distance is the same to a fixed point called the center. So what we're talking about here is it is all of these points. And all of these points, any one of these, if we were to look at the distance from this point to the very center, all of these would be the exact same distance. We call that distance r for the radius. And we call the center HK. So if this is not showing up very well, you can see that that is H and K. Now, just in case you have forgotten, because it's been a while, I want to remind you about that distance formula. The distance formula is the square root of x2 minus x1 quantity squared plus y2 minus y1 quantity squared. All of that is underneath the radical. So you could always find the distance between any 2 points using this formula. And in this case, since we're talking about a very specific distance, this case it would also be called the radius of that circle. Now, as we are working through some of these problems, you're going to need some formulas that are very specific to circles. And those formulas are here. This is called the standard form of a circle. And it is x minus h. Remember, h is the x coordinate of the center, and then that's squared, plus y minus k. And if you'll remember, k is that y coordinate of the center, equals r squared. And r, again, represents the radius of the circle. This formula you're going to be using over and over and over and over again. If you know the center and the radius of the circle, you can plug it into this formula and come up with the equation of the circle. If you're given the formula, then you can read off the h and the k, or the center, and you can figure out what the radius is just from that formula. Now, we have another version of this formula that's called the general form of a circle. And really and truly, it's not anything like a new formula that you have to memorize or anything like that. This comes from multiplying all of your squares and things out in your standard form, and then collecting like terms and putting them in the proper order. So whenever we look at general form of a circle, our x squareds always come first, then y squareds, and then our x's, and then y's, and then constant terms equal to 0. Now, I realize if you're looking through a textbook, and it doesn't matter what textbook that you have, they all give you so many different formulas. They look at specific situations, whether the center is at the origin or not. They give you all these different formulas. You don't need all of that. This one formula is all you need, and you can really do anything you want to with a circle just from this standard form formula.